I'm Danny, and this is the Scream Princess podcast. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the Scream Princess podcast. I'm Danny, and I'm here today with producer Charley McDougall. How are you doing?
Hi there, Danny. Thank you for asking me to come on. I'm doing good. I appreciate you inviting me to this wonderful podcast.
Well, thank you for coming on. And we actually go way back.
We do,
Well,
yeah, yeah,
I've introduced you as a producer, but I met you when you were an actor.
yeah. Back in so 2014 was when we met like in
Was it?
person. Yeah, and but I think in many ways we must have known each other from like maybe 2012 or something
Yeah.
around that region because I think that's roughly when I got onto Twitter, and that
Mhm.
seemed like that was like the vehicle for like people raising money and like every time I went on it because I was so like even Facebook wasn't a big thing for me and whatever else. And I remember
Right.
joining Twitter and there was all these films and they were like, oh, we're doing this movie and we're doing that movie and we're raising this
Yeah.
money. And it was like, that felt like the new version of, there was things like Indiegogo, which I'm not sure if it's as popular as Kickstarter or anything, but
Yeah.
like that was a really big one. And I'd always see like these people doing like, oh, I'm going to do this zombie movie or I'm going to do this alien movie. And,
Yeah.
it was always like reach for the stars kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I went for an audition with a guy. There was a guy called A.D. Lane,
Hmm.
and his friend was Steve, and that's obviously how I ended up meeting yourself. But A.D. put a movie out called Not Invasion of the Not Quite Dead, and that was like a zombie movie. And I
Mm.
remember applying for it, and I went down to maybe it was Kent,
I
was
think they're
where they had
Kent-based,
it.
yeah.
That was it, and I remember doing it, and supposedly I scared everyone in the room, and like they were just like they were so intense and whatever
Mhm.
else. And I was like, they was like, "You're so nice," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I know. I've got quite like an intense acting
I remember
style."
that
And
actually about you in Christmas Day. I remember like you really like getting into the moment and being like, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's really into this." Like going for it. Like I
yeah,
always tend to play quite vacuous characters, so I don't ever have to like really dig.
right, yeah. Well, you know what? Usually I don't have to either. Like my thing is always like the comedy guy or the
Yeah.
funny one, and to be fair, that kind of resembles me as a person anyway. And I
Mm.
kind of that was always like my character, kind of how I look. But I was always really good at this sort of intense,
Yeah.
give me that kind of stuff. And then that luckily that kind of gave me that movie gave me more roles because people
Mm.
were like, oh, okay, even AD, like I think I wasn't even on his radar, I guess. Oh no, maybe I was. I wasn't on Steve's radar, and then Steve got me into Christmas Sleigh because of that
Yeah.
audition, and then
Yeah.
AD then gave me like one of the lead roles in that movie because he was like, oh my god, he was terrifying and whatever else, and then I got a few more like intense roles, and I used to love all of that. It's like it's a good way to like drama therapy.
It is. I wonder what they're all up to now. I wonder if they're still making films because I think with social media, it's really changed. Like Facebook was like a major thing, and like you said, then Twitter
Mm.
came on board, and Twitter was very much people posting out, what they were doing. So it was a good way of networking for like actors and producers and whoever.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy. I
and
used to
nobody
go on it
uses
every day,
it
and
quite so much.
no, yeah, not in the same way. I used to go on it every day, and there was almost like these sort of Twitter famous people from like the
Yes.
UK, and you were definitely one of them. That I always used to see you posting and whatever else. And there was too many to like mention, but you see them all the time, and there's always doing a million and one things.
Mm.
And then I mean, I've completely stepped away from Twitter. I think my last post was like 2014, anyway, and
Mm.
I'm not
Before
that big on
Elon Musk
Instagram
took
or
over
whatever
and
else.
made it different.
I still have the
X.
it's still Twitter on my phone. It's
Is
still the
it?
little bird. Yeah, because I haven't updated it. So
I still have the app. I actually got hacked a couple of years ago. So my Twitter got hacked and my email address got hacked. So I don't know how much work I've lost through people trying to email me for the last 2 years. Because I can never get that back and I can never get Twitter back. And they were trying to hack my Instagram and my Facebook, but I cottoned on and I managed to change the passwords quick enough.
it's
So
mental. Yeah, yeah. I got a notification on Saturday. Someone in Guatemala or something like that was trying to, and I was. It's the first time it's ever happened. Said
yeah,
it was like your two-tier thing has come up, and someone.
yeah.
I was like,
I'm
that's
so
crazy. So I
glad
had to
we
change
have
my
like the
password.
two-factor ID now though. But I had
exactly.
to
Yeah, yeah,
start again with Twitter. So I have like way less followers than I used to. But I think it's had its day. I don't think Twitter's really the app anyone uses. I
no,
don't really
no,
understand TikTok. I'm not really down with the kids. I just don't get
no.
it. Like people miming along to stuff and and people want to watch
It's
that. I don't
That's it.
understand.
It's its own thing, isn't it? I mean, I've got like a account to look at it, and I was like, I haven't done a thing with it again
Yeah.
because it's not really my thing. Like, even Instagram, I try and use it as much as I can, but I'm just not that.
I'm a bit of a doom scroller with Instagram. Like I'll just scroll and scroll and scroll, and I think, God, I could have been really productive in that past hour. So I need to like limit
You
myself.
got this research.
Yeah, I need to put my phone on like away from me and like I don't know, do other stuff sometimes.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. If I'm in like a writing zone or something like that, I just have to put the phone aside, and it's basically just me, my laptop on my lap, and I'm just like hammering away and whatever else.
Yeah,
But then you can find like 2 hours where you're like, wait, what happened? I picked this up for a text, and then
I know.
I haven't done anything for 2 hours
I
or
know,
whatever.
but as soon
So,
as I finish scrolling, I start again. So I'll go Instagram, 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 Facebook, 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 back to
so
Instagram. Nothing will have happened in that time that I really need to know
yeah,
about.
yeah.
So,
You never know.
so we ended up out in Bulgaria
Hmm.
filming Christmas Day, which was it was a really cool experience because that was kind of early in my acting career as well. I don't know if that was for you. I'd done Serial Caller and I'd been over and I'd shot a film in LA and then I kind of came back and I think this was like early the next year. So it was cool. I think that's how I thought my career was going to go. I was like, I'm in LA, I'm in Bulgaria, and then it kind of didn't. It was like, oh,
Oh no, no.
I'm mostly in the UK. But no, I mean, it was a really cool experience being over there because I'd never been to Bulgaria before. Um,
Same. Yeah, yeah.
and I think
I loved
they'd
it.
they'd booked it because the film was set in Scotland, and they'd booked Bulgaria because they wanted to guarantee we'd have snow for this kind of snowy Christmas. And it was
Yeah.
really warm. Can you remember it was February and it was super warm?
Sweating.
It
And
was
yeah,
like,
yeah, and until the night. I mean, because I don't know if you
yeah,
remember, I had a scene and I was in a vest, and that was it.
yeah.
And I was outside, and we had to do that scene like 2 or 3 nights running. And then at night the floor was frozen, and they had to like drag me dead across the floor. And then I took my top off, and everyone saw it. I literally had like scratches, like blood scratches all the way up my body and wherever else. And I was like, God,
You were
the
quite
things that we do.
unlucky because I died inside. So I
You
died in the
did, yeah, yeah.
warm. I
You had a
was
candy cane in your eye.
No, that wasn't me. I got the
Or was that
tinsel.
you?
I got strangled with the tinsel.
Tinsel.
Who
Who's
who
the
was the
candy
candy
cane?
cane?
Lydia.
Lydia got the candy cane. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was strangled with tinsel. And I've been strangled with tinsel. No, I've been strangled by Santa again. And not with tinsel, but I have
Out
had
of
a
work or
I know, it's a niche death. It's happened to me twice.
yeah.
But no, that was a cool experience. But how did you first get into acting?
So it was always something that I wanted to do. So I went I did drama from like a young age. I did like theatre and whatnot. And then I went to college, I did a BTEC. Then I went to did a BA in drama when I went to university. I did a master's degree in contemporary theatre. And then I went to drama school. And then after that, it was about 2010. And then I just moved out with a bunch of actors into Tooting in London, and I was just figuring out. I was doing everything from wearing like costumes on the street to being in like random movies, and I drew the line. There was one day when someone asked me to wear a diaper, and I was like, no. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like there was just kind of like there's levels to this kind of
Do you
performance
know there
art
is
and all of
jobs though,
that.
like when you're an out of work actor or jobbing actor and you have to take jobs to pay when you've got bills. Like it's
Yeah.
like, okay, where's my dignity? Do I need to pay my
Uh,
bills or do I need to have dignity? No, I need to pay my bills.
they always pay the most ones that like take your dignity away as well.
Yeah,
There's like there's always that sort of like fine line of should I
yeah,
do it or should I not? How many people are going to see this and
yeah,
to
yeah.
get away with
Will
it?
this ever come back to bite me later in life?
That's it. So if it's in live in person, you can kind of most of my really embarrassing stuff was walking around London in like a muscle man costume or
That's
something
kind of
like that.
lucky. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And to be fair, no one was really posting back then. There's 2010, 2011, and whatever else.
yeah.
So I remember once I saw some people from like my school in Bank or somewhere, and I was like, I'm going this way. I was like, I don't know how that's happened, but I'm going this way because there's no way I'm there and they see me in this random Arnold Schwarzenegger
But
muscle
you
man
have to just
costume.
remember that Brad Pitt once dressed as a chicken.
Well, there we go. You know, that's
So he did like the promo stuff dressed as a chicken for a chicken shop. So, everyone's done it.
everyone's got their story. You know.
Yeah, it's true. And then when did you decide that? Because I mean, you've completely given up acting, haven't you? So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, do you ever think you'd go back? I mean, because I think you can never say never because you just don't know
No,
what's gonna
like
happen.
I feel like lucky, like it's in there if I need it and whatever
Mm,
else, you know. And I feel, I understand it from both ends of the spectrum. I feel like I'm a really understanding producer. I get it, like from the acting point of view, because I've done it for 6, 7 years professionally. I know that it's hard. I know, what's being asked of you, if it's too much, if it's too little, not too little, but like, I get it. Like I feel like from that point of view, it was really good experience that I'd done that so
yeah.
that I understand it from their point of view too. And, what's really hard for an actor, if you're making them do an emotional scene for like 10 hours a day, it's kind of like, there's lines where you have to go, look, I think we have to look after these people. We can't just make them cry nonstop
Yeah.
and whatever else. I mean, it's draining, like
Yeah.
you're only going to get 2 or 3 really good performances from someone when
Yeah.
you're going for an emotional thing. And it's like, if you don't understand that and you're just like a paperwork producer or something, it's like
Mm,
you might be seeing it from a different point of view. Whereas it's like, I get it from the point of view of, well, we're only going to get 2 or 3 really good things. So why don't we just make sure we get it properly? Like, why are we, if you do it 15, 20 times, you're probably never going to get one really good one. Whereas if you plan it properly to the point of,
yeah.
okay, let's make sure that this person gets their shot how they need it, and then they can relax afterwards, because again, it's gonna make the scene not look good. The cast probably aren't gonna feel it and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing better than when the cast are all in the groove and whatever else. And
Yeah.
yeah, so like I say never, but it's in there. And I've a million times been pulled in for like cameos. Someone's pulled out on the day, or oh, this has happened, or oh, we need an extra person here, and I'm like, my lord, and I have to come in and kind of like working whilst in the background of a film or whatever else. And you was told it was going to take an hour, and you're there for like 7 hours. And you're like, I've got really important stuff to be doing in like the office and wherever else. But from that side of things, it's fine. And I do get like asked every now and again. I got quite a big offer on Friday. I ended up having to do the talk with the director because I mean they offered too much money for me to not talk to them. And but I was very honest that I was like, I haven't done this for 6 years. But I'm honored that you like come to me, and I'll be very honest. Like if you want me to read, I will, because it's like too much money. But I was like, but at the same time, like it's just not what I do anymore. But it's just funny how you still end up on people's radars in that
Mm,
way, because I guess they see like the amount of films you've done and
mm,
don't realize it's all from producing, for instance, So they probably just think,
yeah.
oh, because I have been acting, they probably just associate it with both, and they're like, oh, great, he's done like so many things, so we're gonna reach out to this guy and see if he
Yeah.
wants to be in our film or whatever.
Yeah, because I did click on your IMDb before, and you have obviously. I always say this to people when people ask me, and they're like, "Oh, you've done this many films." I'm like, "Well, I probably haven't," because there's always those ones that sneak in that never get made, or the ones that people add you to, and then it kind of nothing happens.
That's
But you
it,
do
yeah.
have a long list of credits in, as an actor, but then also as a writer and a producer. And your list of like pre-production and post-production is like you've got how many on the go at one time?
Yeah, it's
Exciting.
it's it's loads. So what we done was where it was all just producing to start with, and then we kind of evolved into exec producing as well. So that obviously helps us branch further with everything that we're doing. So producing wise, 2, 3 films a year, maybe 4 if we've got enough time. But like it takes a lot of energy to produce a film. We just
Yeah.
done one with Scott Atkins April, sort of like April 20th, all the way up until mid June. I mean, and I'm talking like 20 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mm,
Like you just aren't sleeping. You're in it.
yeah.
You're 24/7, and you physically can't do 10 of them. There's not that amount of months in the
Yeah.
year to do 10 of them. So we got into like exec producing that way. Someone can present us with a package that works. Maybe they've even got an actor attached. They've got sales attached. They've got a tax credit calculation that works, or something else like that, a business model, and we get involved. And that's why we've been able to do like multiple films in a year. I think we ended up doing 16 films last year. So it's
Right.
kind of like it builds your credits very quickly in
Yeah.
that way. But we see it from a very sort of business point of view as well. So it's not just do as many as you can and hope. It's very sort of like, everything that comes in, if it makes sense and we see that there's a profit line and then a business plan after that point, we think it's viable, we'll do it. And so it's been a very busy couple of years, because in the last 2.5 years, that's where we've really ramped it up in that respect. We produce what we really want to do, and then we exec produce business things. So it'll go from maybe a Bollywood movie to something animation, to something that's completely not what we would do, like a marketing deal. We've done marketing deals for really large films. And again, so it's kind of like we're open to anything as long as it makes sense on a business model, where we'll do it.
So what made you decide to go from acting to producing? Like what made you take the leap?
So it was so what made me basically stop acting was money, really. So I was doing 2 or 3 really good films a year, working with some really great actors, and then but it just wasn't enough. So you get, life happens, you want to get married, you want to partners, all of that kind of stuff, and it's kind of like you get to the point where I'm like, well, I'm scrimping and scraping to
Mhm.
just sort of be in this industry. And it was like 2015, it really sort of like hit me where I was like, this isn't working out enough for me. Like I'm doing some really good stuff, but I'm not doing this just to sort of say I'm doing really good stuff. I want to be able to do really good stuff, but also have an income. So then
Yeah.
I started getting really into the writing, and then with no training, just sort of picked it up in my own sort of way. And then the writing was the same kind of thing. So I was taking the writing, I was taking it to directors or producers that I knew, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is great. We'll do this, that, and the other." Then a year would go by. "Oh, don't worry, it's happening." Blah blah. And I was like, oh, "Okay." And I was like, "Wait, this is like being an actor, but just like the opposite version of being an actor." And so then I was like, writing's just the exact same thing. You need to, physically do it. And then my current business partner, Jamie, he was really more like from 2016 to 2017, he was like really in contact with me more than he ever was. I met him around 2012, him and his current business partner at that time. And then I sort of showed him a couple of scripts that I'd done. They really liked them. We sort of had back and forth. We never really done anything. Then I think it was around 2014, they took me to Wales. I wrote a script for them. They really liked it. And it just sort of evolved from there. And then they opened like a TV company. And from the TV company, I wrote something for them. And then Jamie was like, okay, look, now you've sort of been into this and you kind of understand it a bit. Why don't you try and like become a producer with me? And I was like, oh, I've never really thought about being a producer. It doesn't really interest me. I've always
Yeah.
sort of
What
been
do
like
they do?
100%. And I was always like the creative side. I was always either an actor or now, sort of giving myself the title of writer, because I've never done anything. So I was like, I'm a self-made writer that hasn't made anything. And and he was like, oh, just this, that, and the other. So basically I quit my job and I was like, okay, let's just do this in 2018. And we went to Berlin without any clue. I just had like a couple of scripts. And our second meeting there, we met the producer of Rambo. And
Wow.
he was blown away by our sort of audacity that we just kind of steamrolled our way into Berlin without having even made a film yet. We picked up his interest. He's like, how you two lads sort of got to this point of talking to me and whatever else. And then we had like another meeting with him, and it kind of just been like
Mhm.
spiraled from there. Really, we just kind of burst our way in, and then it just kind of happened organically. One film at a time turned into about 30 something.
So would you say, cause, I mean, because I know you've done stuff in all genres really, but would you say you kind of lean towards the horror genre?
Yeah, like horror is my favorite. And it's been one of those things where in the last couple of years, horror has been one where I kind of almost had to like step away from slightly. Not even just through commerciality or anything else like that. The opportunities have just been there for certain other movies.
Hmm.
Um, Action, for instance, the last one we just done with Scott Atkins, for instance. Like, I mean, that's a big action movie. It's sort of akin to Rambo meets
Hmm.
Taken type of vibe. And then before that, I did a Christmas family action comedy, and which I never, even though I love comedy, and that's kind of like my day to day
Yeah.
lifestyle, how I am. I've never
And
actually written
tell me
comedy
what this
before.
one's called because I feel like I've seen it. Is it the one with Liz Hurley?
Oh no. It's
No.
so it's not out. It's not out yet, but it's
Oh,
called
okay, that was
Jingle.
a different one.
It's called Jingle All the Sleigh, and
Oh,
so,
so that
so
sounds
it's
almost like it could be a horror though, because of the
I
sleigh.
know. No, exactly. So we've got a few titles where we might change it just for that sort of situation of
Mm.
making it a bit more PG and whatever else. But we was going on the Jingle All the Way sort of vibe,
Yeah,
and everyone loves the title. But then I think I might keep that title for something else and bring it into because the film's not released yet. And but that's a really fun movie. It's about a
right.
hitman. He's trying to have the perfect Christmas with his family, and his big Don mafia boss ends up wanting to put a hit out on him, but his family doesn't know he's a hitman. So he's ended up having to kill all these like assassins and whatever else whilst he's still trying to have the perfect Christmas. So
Right.
they're upstairs like singing Christmas carols. He's downstairs killing a reindeer, and he comes back upstairs and has the perfect Christmas. And but it's very sort of Home Alone kind of. There's no
Right.
blood, there's no gore. It's very squeaky clean and very absurdly funny.
Ah. But you always keep getting dragged back to horror.
Always getting dragged back. I mean, it is my love. You know, every time I
Yeah.
watch a horror, like last year I watched Longlegs, and then I loved it so much, I went away and I wrote like my own sort of like 90s uh horror in the sort of same vein because I was like, oh my god, this has just sort of like triggered something in me. And obviously I wrote Aladdin, and that's something that we're gonna do this year.
Mhm.
I've got probably like a stack of 9 or 10 anyway that I just had some of the original scripts I wrote back in the day. I
Yeah.
still haven't even made yet because we ended up just. It's kind of like it's easy to say, "Oh, we'll just make this one next," but half the time, it's like a business thing. It's whether
Something else comes up.
maybe exactly, and you might work with sales. We've had like moments where like either a distributor or a sales agent, they're financing the movie, or they're at least putting contract or paperwork against your product, and they'll tell you what they want, so you end up making that movie.
Hmm.
Or an actor's available. So like with Deadly Games, which is an action movie, that's our next movie. Cam, he loves the script. So if the actor's available and he wants to do it, that sort of again it veers you into what you're doing. So
Yeah.
even though you might have on your list what you think you're doing in a calendar year, I mean everything we planned to do this year has not happened. I was going to do
Yeah.
another Christmas movie in January, and we ended up doing what we're doing now. So it's kind of like it's just funny how
Yeah.
whatever you plan to do, it's like it's very rare that you end up doing it
Something
the
else.
exact same way.
Do you think horror is easier to make as in independent films because of the fan base?
I think so. I think horror fans are very loyal,
Mm.
and even to the sort of maybe the detriment of the fact that they're never always. Sometimes their loyalty isn't given back by the filmmakers. Sometimes like the amount of I'm trying to think of like reboots is the word, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, oh, you've waited all these years for it. You watch it and you're like, oh, they've let us down, or they just done like a cookie cutter version of this
Yeah.
movie or whatever else, and you kind of like, but these loyal fans will keep coming back because I do it myself. I'm
Yeah.
a massive horror fan of pretty much every franchise, and every film that comes out in whether it's Alien, Halloween, or whatever else, I'll watch them
Yeah.
regardless. Even if the last one slapped me around the face as a fan, I'm like, but this one might be good, or this
Yeah.
one might surprise me, and whatever else. And it's like you don't get that from many others because you even see it on a higher level. Like look at Marvel, right? And they're not going out of business. Of course they're not, but they are massively from phase
It's
four,
very
phase five.
saturated now.
Exactly, and it's like, but you've seen it in the numbers as well, and to the point where they've had to stop TV series and
Mm.
films. Like the amount of them, they're having to like go, okay, we need to go back to the quality over quantity kind
Yeah,
of
because I find
variety.
some of
Whereas
them just lack the story, and it's like, here's your characters, and it's
that's
like,
it,
but
yeah,
what's the story? Why is that a
that's it.
movie? It's just money, they know
It
that people are going to
is.
watch.
They just think they just keep plastering the same things, and the same people will come out in the same numbers. And I think when you're going for like a big, wide commercial based audience, they'll tell you straight up, "Oh, we ain't coming back." I just took my wife, my two kids. They all had popcorn. They all had this.
Yeah,
I've done this 3 times for you, and you've let me
yeah,
down three
it's not
times. They're
cheap a
just like,
trip
we'll
to the
watch it.
cinema now.
That's it. We'll watch it on Sky, or we'll watch it on Netflix or Disney
Yeah,
Plus or whatever else. Whereas I feel like a horror fan will still go to all the festivals. They'll still go. They'll still buy
yeah,
the DVDs. They'll still like. they still put themselves up for that sort of disappointment. With
I'd
like
say
we
horror
are
fans are very much
expected
still
to.
collectors of physical media though as well.
Yeah,
Whereas a lot of other people will just watch on the apps or, whatever,
that's it.
Disney Plus or
Yeah, yeah. I
however
love I
many.
love like the physical. I've got so many things where I buy them and just I never even open them and whatever else. So it's just I just like
Mm.
having them. I guess I've got like a collector
I'll buy
thing
stuff
about
if
me.
it's like an absolute favorite, but I just don't have the storage space. I had more space before in like bigger units, and I just got rid of so much, and I was like, I'm not allowed to start filling my shelves again because,
That's it. Because I
you
was gonna
know,
say you got a little bit of
it's a
gap up
lot.
there. You can like make a few shelves
Yeah,
and
no. That's the only thing about physical media, though, isn't it? It's like I much prefer it to, to watching it on because you never know how long it's going to stay on Netflix or how long it's going to stay on
that's
Disney
it.
Plus
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But at the same
It's all
time,
like
it's like it does make sense for the storage.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, we're in a sort of like non-tangible asset world now. So if you
Mm,
if you like something on Netflix, you're only really renting that
yeah,
film or that series or that franchise. So you can't get annoyed when you wake up on Monday and
it's
that
gone.
series is now completely gone, and they don't tell you where it goes. You got to figure it out. Maybe it's gone nowhere. Maybe it's just gone back to the
Yeah,
publisher or whoever else, and maybe it's not there at all. Now you got to go and buy it, or now you got to go and get Sky or whatever else. So you
yeah.
are in that world of to the point of when we was growing up, if you liked something, you went and bought it. So no matter what,
You'd
you
have
had
a
it,
video
and
and you'd watch it
you
over
had
and
a
over and
video.
over and over again, wouldn't you?
That's
Or
it.
you'd have
Yeah,
like
yeah.
10 videos and that would be your,
And your DVDs were how you saying like where do you put them? I mean, your DVDs were kind of like almost your design of your room, like where was your
yeah.
bedroom, your front room. People would literally have them DVD cases, and you go into like people's front rooms, and they would have them like down the side of their TV, where it'd be like
Basically like a
DVDs and
library,
DVDs.
and then your
That's
sofas in
it.
front of them.
It's kind of crazy that that's how a lot of like early millennium front rooms used to look was they would have
Yeah.
their DVD
DVDs and
libraries.
CDs, and they'd be in those
That's it.
IKEA like
That's
units.
like, and you would go up and you'd walk and you'd almost like judge them by like what they had.
And then
You know,
really
I was like,
anal
oh god,
people used to alphabetize them.
yeah. You know
I
what? I
didn't.
tried to, I tried to get into like some kind of order, and I remember at uni, like you'd always like lend it to someone, and then before you knew it, like your DVDs, it'd be like Alien would be in this one, and then that movie would be in this one. And you'd be like, oh, I can't even keep up. I don't know where these DVDs are anymore. They're like the CDs are just kind of. It's like one game after another. You have to open this one to get out, and then okay, open Predator. Predator's got this. So open this one. It's oh my god.
Well, I
So
tend to
it's
keep
take
like
me
my
forever.
horrors together and then like my maybe comedies. So I kind of know what mood I'm in. I know how to kind of find what I'm looking for. But I do get cross with things and put in the wrong cases. And it
Case.
doesn't happen
It
so much
kills
with
me.
DVDs, but in my house, records or vinyls, they get put back
Sure.
in the wrong cases. And I'm like, but why? Why don't you put one back when you take the next one out? Like you don't take one out and put the last one back in. That it just makes no sense. I get very cross.
No, no, I agree with you. You should have that written and put above the
Yes,
record player.
put things back.
That's it. Put thing back or leave.
So what would you say is your favorite decade for horror?
Uh, 80s. And I
80s.
say that because probably watched most of it in the 90s.
Yeah.
70s is there, like obviously Alien and whatever else at the back end of the 70s. But I would
Mm.
say 80s is probably the sweet point for most of the horrors that I've watched. Even today, like when I go back and watch stuff, I feel like the 80s is like that's the kind of era where cinematography was also at a point where it was much better than it was, in the late 60s, early
Mhm.
70s. And but then the 90s is like my favorite era in terms of like all cinema.
Mm.
I would like go to the grave with that's like the golden era of
Yeah, I
cinema.
very much
And
love the 90s too. The
I
late 90s,
same
early noughties.
that's it.
Brilliant.
That's it. And obviously people because I guess that's the era that we grew up as well. So people will
Mm.
say, "Oh, you biased," but I'm like, I do think it's the best era of all
Yeah.
time. Just before digital came in, it's like the golden age of film, and every movie was incredible. You even look. I'm not a massive Oscars person, but you look at the Oscars back then. It's like every film in the list, everyone watched and everyone loved, and whatever else. Was sometimes now
Yeah.
you get the Oscars, and I'm like, okay, I've watched a couple, but it's only because I've got the membership and I had the time and whatever else. And it's kind of like
Yeah. I feel like
some of
now
these
it
movies are
depends
cool.
like when they release films, it's like if they're released in a certain little period, those will be the ones that are getting put up for Oscars or, whatever other
Yeah, yeah,
awards.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's very,
January to March is like Oscar season, and
yeah.
I feel like they specifically put their movies out in that period of time because it's kind of like a downtime. I mean, if you want to watch a drama or whatever, it's definitely going to come out in January, February kind of
Yeah.
time. And like I say, a lot of them. I mean, there was a couple. I know it was like 2 years ago, and I was like, "This is one of the worst Oscars lists I've ever seen." Obviously, it's subjective, but I'm like, we grew up in an era where you had like Green Mile competing with like huge movies in that year itself, and you're like, oh, they didn't even get, like these all six of these could have won in their own right in
Yeah.
another year or whatever else. Whereas you look at some of these years, and you're like, yeah, it's either this one or this one, because I mean the other four just feel like they're maybe because the political nature of the movie, or maybe
Yeah.
it had like a strong message, and you're not allowed to say anything either or about it, because then you get cancelled.
Yes. Well, we're out of time for part one, so I'm going to give you a short break and I will see you back here in part two.
Yeah, lovely. Well, thank you, Danny, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Welcome back to the Screen Princess podcast. Hello there, welcome back to part two of the Scream Princess podcast. So, before we left off, we were talking about our favorite decades for horror. What would you say your favorite modern horror is that you've seen? Like something that's come out in maybe the last couple of years?
Long Legs is my favorite.
I
Like,
haven't seen it.
it might be my favorite of like all time. I just
Really?
It's so incredible. It's got the 90s vibe about it. It's got Seven feels about it. It's just there's something about that Oscar Perkins that like he's got something very special going on with
Well, of course,
what
his
he's
dad
doing.
was the guy, was it Anthony Perkins?
I actually have no idea.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you know.
yeah, I don't, was it Psycho or it was like a major horror film, like a Hitchcockian
or
film?
like American
Yeah,
Psycho, or yeah.
no, like actual
Incredible.
Psycho, like
Oh wow,
the
yeah.
Hitchcock.
I genuinely
Yeah,
had no idea.
yeah,
I
because
just
I
thought
know him
because
from
he's got such a
Legally
cool name.
Blonde. He was in Legally
Right.
Blonde as like a kind of like a small character.
Hmm.
And then yeah, he's really gone into to directing and stuff. But I actually haven't seen Longlegs.
Please watch it. It's not. It's
I'm
obviously it's
gonna
not.
write it in my notes.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not a horror film. Like, there's no jumps. Well, there's jump moments, but it's just because it's so good. But like, there's no. It's not driven on jump scares. It's driven on dread.
Right,
You go
okay.
away. You go away, and you remember the movie. Like that's for me. That's a horror film. Like a horror
Yeah.
film isn't defined on jumps. Like it's great. Like there's two different eras. I'm in the
Hmm.
business side of it all, and everything else. So like, if jump scares is the way that you sort of define how scary a movie is, fair enough. But I find jump scares, not that there's anything wrong with them, try and get them in if that's the kind of movie you're
Yeah.
making. But a jump scare doesn't mean it's scary. It
No.
means it got you. It got you. Great.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll watch a movie, I'll jump like two times because it happened out of nowhere. But
Hmm.
that film did not scare me or did not like worry me. It just made me jump because out of nowhere they had 5.1 like blurst that I wasn't expecting. And that
Yeah.
was fun for the moment, but I'm sleeping well at night and I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about it and whatever else. Whereas there are some movies where it lingers with you, where you're like, oh, that don't feel right in my stomach, or
Yeah.
that's so weird. Like when you watch like a crime series
Uh-huh.
or something, you're like, that is
Oh, I can't watch
horrific.
true crime.
How can you not?
No.
Like, I don't watch it enough, but there's a YouTuber. I've forgotten what he's called, but like he's incredible. This YouTuber guy, he's been doing it for like 5 or 6 years, and I've in the last year or so, I've been like completely engrossed with him. I'll watch everything that he does,
Mm.
and it's real stories, and it's the most insane things.
That's
Like I've,
too
I've
scary
literally
though.
written scripts from it. And no,
It's
it is
because it's
because
stuff that's
real
really
life is
happened. Like
horrible.
with films, you get to the end of a film and the killer's been caught, or the monster's gone, or so vanquished, or whatever, and I feel okay. But with true crime, I just think, God, that those people existed. Like even though they may have been caught or whatever's happened, there's more of them out there. There's like real crazy people, and I find that more disturbing than a film. So
Yeah.
definitely
Do
don't
you
watch
see
it.
the one about the blind date one?
No.
It's on Netflix. I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen the documentaries. The guy in like the 70s or something was a killer, and he would like date because he's a very good looking guy. He would date girls. He would take them out to the desert, pretend he was a photographer, and then he'd murder them in the middle of nowhere. And he went on bloody blind date in America.
Right.
The facade of the guy because he was just like, well, what? No one knows. Like, there's no films, there's no cameras, there's no social media at that point. So he just went on there, and then the girl refused to go on the date with him because she said he was too weird after
Right.
they went like backstage,
Also
and
went
that
on like
saved
the
her life.
TV show.
He went on the TV show
Right.
Blind Date of like the 80s in America,
I didn't
like
know they had it over
whatever.
there.
Still,
I thought we were
yeah,
just
yeah,
the only ones.
exactly. Cilla Black, she goes all over the world, and but like their version of it, he was on it, and he won because he's very charismatic. He was a very good-looking guy. He's a photographer. He's very confident, and the girl that he won it with said he was too creepy backstage
Right.
that she didn't go on the date, and it basically saved her life. And that
Gosh.
was where the film sort of like focused on, from what I like believe. And but it just shows you like this guy. I mean, when they caught him, he basically admitted to like 20 or something, but they reckon it was like
Mad.
50 or 60
I mean, it's
because
easier, isn't it, in America? Like if you're like somewhere near Vegas and you could just, go out
there's
to
a
the
desert.
desert, no one's going to
Yeah,
find
yeah.
your victims.
And like I said, and especially when people didn't have their little mobile phones back in the
Yeah.
day,
Well, this
everyone's
is why I
now got
think like
a
things like
video, a
dating apps and
mobile.
things, like how is there not
Hmm.
more like dating app murders? Like I suppose it's easy
That we
traceable.
know of.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I would never have joined one. I was like, no way, not for me. They're too scary.
yeah,
I'll get
yeah,
murdered.
yeah. Yeah, there you go. And like you
Um,
say, I feel like that's probably the next stage of all the horror movies and whatever else.
yeah.
I feel like I've seen a couple or I've heard about a couple of
Well, like what
dating
they
app
have to tie in
murder
now is
movies.
like obviously, 80s movies, 90s didn't really have mobile phones, but now it's always it has to be a reason why no one's got a phone. And it has to be kind of written into the script. Why have we got no phones? Unless it's somewhere out in
That's
the
it.
wilderness and
Straight away, yeah,
phones,
they're in the middle of nowhere.
yeah,
Like you
phones
have to,
just not
whenever
going
you
through.
write a script, straight away it's like you have to quickly figure out how you get rid of these mobile phones because back in the day, as you say, it was
It
like
wasn't an
all they
issue
had to
that
be with
happened.
exactly all they had to do was just not be near a phone. That was it,
Yeah. Or someone
or
just needs to
just
cut
cut
the
the phone
wire and
line.
that was it.
That's
That was
it.
it.
There we go.
So when you're writing or producing your own scripts rather than other people's scripts, do you
Hmm.
write with like a location in mind? Do you find a location, go right, that would I can shoot something there, I can do something there,
Hmm.
or do you just write, go for it, and then think I'll worry about all of that later?
Location and budget is like the first two things. I always think about budget now because mainly because we're paying for it. So
Hmm.
I always think about budget. We've done so many movies now that I even down to like scenes, and I'm so glad because the first maybe like 10 films that we done, sometimes the director would like really like sit me down and be like, Charlie, you can't write like 10-page scenes, like that. It's really difficult, and then when you're
Hmm.
there and you notice it, you're like, yeah, this 10-page scene is killing us. Like,
Yeah.
you're like 5 or 6 characters talking. It's 10 pages long. That means you've
Uh-huh.
got to do 10 minute shoot over 5 characters. You got, let's say you're doing the basic coverage, which is master, medium, close
Uh-huh.
up, and everyone's individual
Everyone.
shots. Before you know it, like you're multiplying like 15 things before you know it, and then you go, well, we need pickups, we need like intricate things. Maybe there's certain aspects you need to get from different angles or whatever else, and crossing the line when you got a lot of people. And it's like before you know it, you've written a scene that is like well, not impossible to do, but we're not shooting films where we can shoot 2-3 pages a day and whatever else. It's like
Yeah.
you're trying to get as much as you can.
Uh-huh.
Especially back in the early days, it's like we can shoot 10 pages, we'll shoot 10 pages, and so now it's like even when I do scenes are very concise. It's like I don't go over five pages ever.
Yeah, even as
Um,
an actor, when I get given a script and or you're like on set and you're like, right, we're going to do like 9 pages, like you're saying, and you think, well, will they break it down? Are they going to shoot that bit, that bit, that bit? Because I'm always like,
mhm,
I know I only have like one job when I'm acting, and I just have to know my lines and just do that bit. But it's
mhm.
like, are they going to break it down? Because when there's a lot of people, it's really confusing. It's like because you have to
It
know
is.
everyone's lines and to know like what's happening, or at least
And the
in the
longer it goes
location.
on, I feel like you got problems because
Yeah,
people will start getting tired, like
yeah,
lines will get lost, and then the crew will start like you start losing
yeah,
them because like they really, maybe like on like there's an element maybe like technically maybe they can miss something, but generally they're not gonna miss if the costume designer's already set you and everything. It's not like they're missing anything. So if
yeah,
that scene just keeps going on and on and on, they're kind of like, wait a
yeah,
minute, what's going on there? We're
yeah.
ready for the next scene, and so technically, again, it gets really boring. Like technically, I've changed the way I've written over the even the last couple of years.
Mhm.
It's like I almost write on a business plan now. So it's kind of like scenes have to be like this. When I do a film, the opening of the film. If it's a horror film, something has to happen in the first 5 minutes straight away. Bang! What's this film about? What's the USP? Why do people want to watch this movie? Like, is there something I can do to grip them to come in and see? I've got to foreshadow something that's going to happen at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the characters that are in the opening aren't necessarily even included in the rest of the movie. Maybe it's like an opening from the 70s and we're starting in the millennium, and the
Mm-hmm.
70s is why like the curse happens or something random. But there is like a blueprint every single time
Mm-hmm.
I write a script now. It's if you give me a ghost movie, if you give me an action movie, if you give me a drama, whatever else, I've got a blueprint where I'm like, that's how I start. This is how I get to act two. And then by
Yeah.
act two, I've got to get to act three this way. And if I'm thinking about a sequel, this is how I'll end it. If I'm just doing a one and done, this is how I'll end it. And but it's always like very boring in that sense. It's like the not the creativity's gone, but in the sense of it, you should think about it as a business where you go,
Yeah.
okay, this is what a really good movie is, and I'm not gonna like try and do something like I'm not trying to like reinvent the wheel. I'm trying to do something that's really cool. This is the idea I've
Yeah.
got,
It's like
and
a
also this
recipe
is the
that
business
works.
plan. Exactly, it's like tried and tested. That's why it works. And also this is what I've got to hand. If, for instance, we've got an aqua park, or we've got like a two or three locations, or in a studio. The studio gives me like a film set. I
Mm.
There's two or three films where we've literally written the film. Where I've been given an aeroplane, or I've been given multiple film sets because this film's happening. So why don't you film this at the same time? Got manor houses built by like huge big production companies. So I'm writing a film around it. Why would I add in like a submarine, or why would I?
Yeah.
We're not going to space when I don't have them things. Let's keep it down to what we have, and we can do this. And like to the point where I read some scripts sometimes, and they'll come in and you're like, yeah, but where am I supposed to shoot these things on this
Mm.
budget and whatever else? It's like you need to go and be a bit more realistic on terms of, well, what can you get? Where can we go? What's close to the studio? What's close to the filming locations? What's close to unit base? And once you start to really understand that, I mean, I wrote scripts like, boom, I went on a trip to Spain just to like relax, and I ended up writing a script because I was in a place and I was thinking about something, and I was at the beach and I was in
Mm.
a place, and then I was like, okay, cool. All right, I've got a whole film here because they've got this whole system in Spain where I was like, oh, this is a great idea for a horror. And I
Yeah.
was like, but it works because I'm not going to take it anywhere away from the place I stayed, the bars, the beach, the local sort of like
Mm.
thing that they believe in and whatever else. If I start adding stuff in, I'm like, well, no, it doesn't work for the kind of idea that I'm trying to do. I might as well have just, I don't know,
Yeah.
not started.
I always find I'm quite creative when I'm actually traveling. So you were saying like, you were on a holiday, you were trying to have a break.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm in airports, because you've got time on your hands, you're waiting and you've got nothing to do. Or like so airports, trains, you've got long train
Yeah,
journey.
yeah.
I was like, what can I do? And I always find I end up doing way more work than I would do if I was sat at home.
I agree, and I mean it's probably not true because I've only seen Harry Potter all the movies once, other than Harry Potter 4. But J.K. Rowling supposedly wrote Harry Potter on a train journey
Yeah.
from Manchester to London, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Just I guess from waiting, and she wrote like literally the whole plot line of Harry Potter
Can you
in the
imagine being a
waiting
person
to
who was
go
just
from
sat
there to
opposite her
there.
and you didn't know? Like you're just sat
Yeah,
opposite J.K. Rowling, and
it
little did you
was
know,
probably their idea.
Harry Potter universe is about to be created. I've just rewatched them all actually. We had
Oh,
like
really? Yeah,
like a
yeah,
couple of weeks ago, we were like every night we were watching a different one. Forgot how
fair enough.
good
I,
they are.
I only watched all of them in COVID when all the cinemas came back about.
Hmm.
They put them in the cinema, and
Right.
so I'd never seen the first one.
Had
I
you read the
don't think I've
books?
seen the second one. I've never read the books. I've seen the fourth one because I worked in the cinema when I was at university, and so the Goblet of Fire. And this was from my ex girlfriend, and then just from people that love Harry Potter. I used to
Mm.
get a lot of crap because I'd always say, "Oh, Harry Potter #4 is the best one." They'd be like, "No, it's not," and I'd be like, "Oh, it is,"
Do you know,
And the
from the
reason why I
films,
would
the
say it is because
first
it's the
two
only one
weren't
I've
so
seen.
good, and then they got better. So after the first two, and
Yeah.
you can see the change in technology between the first two for the CGI and the effects, like
Hmm.
literally go up like 12 notches,
Yeah.
between those years
No,
basically.
no, you can, and obviously they had to make them in then 6, 7 years because the kids were growing up. It's almost like
Mm.
the Stranger Things type
Yeah.
vibe, where if you've got to make something with children, you got to just carry it on through because they're going to become adults very, very quickly, or you go recast them all.
How do you feel about practical effects versus CGI?
Well, I prefer them all day long. If I think the practical effects are too hard, I'll try and think of, is there a way to mask the characters? Like, I'll change the script. Like, I've done two or three films where I've gone, okay, we're not going to do it like this. We're going to do it. So the very first film I ever did, the cannibal movie, it was going to be, in my mind, it was all like the cannibals were going to look grotesque, like in Wrong Turn or whatever else. And then I was like, okay, it's going to be really difficult to get an SFX artist to come in that's really, really good on the rate they want and to the amount of time they're going to take and whatever else. So I went, okay, I'm just going to buy the masks. So the masks were like £300-400 plus
Mhm.
tax. So they were probably like 500 quid each. So we put like an investment into the image, but at least they're consistent from that point.
Yeah.
So they looked really, really good. And if we decided one, if we was going to do SFX, one, that would have cost a lot of money to make them look as good as that in person every single day.
And
And then
then,
two,
yeah,
if you can say
time as well.
time exactly, and then if you said, okay, we're going to do CGI, one that's like a, how good is that going to look? You know, you never know until the end.
Mm,
And we've even had like films sent to us recently where they've shown us stuff where it's like, okay, this is the makeup how it looks now, but the makeup's going to look really good when VFX comes in, and you're like, I'm not a VFX artist. I can't sort of get involved into like the sort of fundamentals of how this makes something look better.
mm,
But you know, where it comes to like rotoscoping and all that, I'm like, these guys are moving. This is not a plate shot. You're moving around. The camera's moving around,
mm.
and you're saying your face is going to look different through VFX. I'm like, I ain't got a clue how you're going to do that on like a smallish budget movie, and you're going to make
Yeah.
that look really really good. So then I just go, well, you're probably going to tap out, and it's going to be just an average looking,
Mm,
makeup or whatever else. And it's like, so for me, I'm like, we've got a couple of things coming up where it's all going to go into the SFX because that's the start. If you've got
mhm.
like a bad guy or the shots are like Terrifier, for instance, the director that's coming in for one of our movies, he was in Terrifier 3. So he's got that the sort of the inner knowing of
Right.
how it went down and whatever else. And Damien basically blew up because he was an SFX guy himself. So he brought all of that into everything that he'd done. And now it's kind of like, well, their movies, they deliver on what they are. You go and watch a Terrifying movie, you're going to get
Yeah.
incredible SFX. So
I
that's
haven't
if
seen the
you're
last
selling the
one yet.
movie
I
that
haven't
way.
seen three.
I haven't seen it. That's what Bradley's in. I
No, I
need to
haven't
see
seen
it.
it. I will watch it. I haven't seen that one yet.
Same. I need to watch it at Christmas now. It feels weird to watch. I've got two Christmas movies coming out this year. One because we made one last year, and then the other one with Jeremy Piven and Elizabeth Mitchell and Connor Esserson from Spy Kids. We was trying to get out last year, but we just missed our
Mm.
sort of window to get it out. So I've got two Christmas movies coming out this year, as well as
Competing
I'm like,
against yourself.
that's it. That's it. I look like I've done it on purpose. I'm like, literally, I've never made it. I've only made two Christmas movies in my life, and two of them
Yeah.
coming out at the same time. And then obviously with Terrifier 3, I mean that's a Christmas movie in itself. So I'm like, I just have to give it like another month and a half. Once September hits,
Yeah.
everyone can get into Christmas mode because that's
Yeah,
when
because Halloween
Tesco and
stuff's
everyone
already in
tells
the
you it's
shops.
Christmas.
So, like, if we're doing
Crazy,
Halloween
isn't
now and
it?
it's August, then you can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
Christmas in
I haven't got
September.
any. I haven't got. I mean, Halloween should be all year round anyway.
I
But
agree. I agree.
it's when you get to like even January is like Easter. Like you go into
Yeah,
January,
because
it's
I
like
don't
all the
care
Easter
about
stuff's out, and
Easter.
no,
It's like,
same.
ugh, Easter.
I couldn't care less. Yeah,
And
yeah,
now shops like
Easter.
literally have rows and rows and rows of like Easter decorations, which you never used to get. And I just think
Yeah,
Easter's such a crap holiday. Because
it's so bad. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like I mean I like
I'm with you.
lambs and baby chicks and bunnies,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't like chocolate, so that's kind of out for me. And I don't like church,
Same.
that's out for me. So, at least Christmas I don't like
They
church
won't let you
whatsoever.
in. They're like this. They
Yeah,
let you try to come
yeah.
in.
No, no, I'm allowed in, but I don't, it's not fun. It's just not fun. Done my time. My mum used to drag me every Sunday and I hated it. So I
Yeah,
feel like I'm going to heaven. I've done my bit. I'm now
that's it.
free.
Yeah, I was baptized as a kid. That
Yeah, I'm
they
now
forced me. I didn't really get a say in the man, but
exactly. I'm now free to do what I like. So which of your films, out of your films that you produce, would you say is your favorite or you're most proud of?
uh, Jingle All the Sleigh. It was so much fun. We it was never on the cards. We was going to do. I can't even remember now. We was going to do something else, and I had a phone call with Nick, who's the lead actor. Eventually, like the lead actor in it, I had a phone call with him. We just chatted about '90s movies, and we were just like talking about from Jingle All the Way to sorry Halloween, Home Alone, and whatever else. And we basically from that I went, oh look, we need to make something that hasn't been made in so long and whatever else. I went away 3 days later. I had like this script. It was like 150 pages, way too long,
Wow.
and I sent it to him. It was quite mental, and I had him written for 18 months, which is kind of I stopped for quite a while. I wrote a lot up until like mid 22, and then I stopped for a while. I just lost the love for it because it again creatively, it became like a business, and I was like, you know what, I'm getting bored of just writing scripts, and it's
Mhm.
sort of like a business side of thing. So I just stopped. Nothing really triggered me, and then when I spoke to Nick and we had this chat, I was like, you know what, I'll write you a synopsis. So I wrote him a synopsis, sent it to him. He loved it. And I was like, I'll just write this up. So I wrote it up, and then as he was reading that, I then wrote three more scripts in like the week I was waiting for the notes from Nick, and I was like, oh, here's an Alien movie, oh, here's this, and whatever else. I was like, oh, it sort of like lit a fire in me again to like write because I thought I'd given up on writing. I was like, you know what, I'm a bit bored of writing at the minute because I've written so many things over the last few years that weren't passionate about. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna write it for whatever else. So then I was like, okay, how can I be passionate but also bring them into a business plan? And
Mm.
that's where I'm at now. Everything I write, I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring my passion. I'm going to sneak it in to a business plan, and they're not even going to know whether it's something we're doing or someone else. Like, there's going to be an element of what I really love about this, and so I found like this new love again. And then since I guess must have been like September last year, I've probably written like 15 or 20 scripts. I've
Mm.
just every time I get 2, 3, 4 days spare, I write a script because I'm just like really really passionate and really really it's like re-envisage sort of like my sort of path of writing all over again. And so we wrote this. It was probably the most fun thing I've ever written. Then Nick, because of who he is, he was the lead in uh Netflix's I've forgotten the movie, The Princess Switch. So it was like their most successful Christmas movie they've ever done.
Right.
They've done three of them, huge movies. Nick was the love interest that's been in all three of them, and then he brought in loads of the cast that was in their movies, and so then we ended up with like a super talented cast, and it was just like it we can't wait to release it and let everyone see what we, from
Yeah.
the actors to the writing to the locations and whatever else. But it is a really, really fun movie.
So what's your favorite part of producing?
Wow, that's quite a hard one. It's quite stressful.
It's quite
That's what I say
stressful.
to people. It's not as fun as
Your
people
favorite
think it
part
is.
apart
And
from the money?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
What bits do
no.
you like doing best?
You know what? It's working with people because in general, in life, I'm quite happy by myself. I'm quite happy doing things like writing's quite like a solo thing, and I don't really like a writing situation where I'm around a lot of people. I'm happy for like notes. I'm happy to work with people and figure out a way of like, okay, what do you need? What do we need? What do we need from a business point? What does the sales need? And bring all that together. I've tried it where I'm in a room with like 5 or 6 people and we're all trying to write a script, and that doesn't work. So
Mm.
writing is like a solo thing for me. Like I want to do it by myself. Happy with notes. I'm happy to sort of do whatever else that comes in with it. But like from a producing standpoint, it's like I'm actually really good with people. I get on with people really, really well. I feel like I'm a good motivator. I'm a good like monkey see, monkey do. Like I will work as hard as you. I'll do every. I'll be there 2, 3 hours before you. I'll be there 2, 3 hours after you. I'm never going to ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do, and I'll be there, like getting in the mud if I got to get in the mud, kind of thing,
Yeah.
And so that like from producing point of view, it's like actually you come alive for like 2 months or something that you're actually
Yeah.
doing it because then after that I'm like back to just me, laptop, talking to my business partner Jamie, and cracking on and doing a lot of stuff by myself.
So would you say you're influenced by any other filmy types? Like, well, I suppose you didn't grow up going, I want to be a producer. You wanted to be an
No.
actor, and then you kind of, you found your path this way. But
Hmm.
who would you say like film influencers are?
My favorite director, producer, writer is Quentin Tarantino.
Right.
Um, and what I like about him is obviously there's no like real like comparison, but he's self-taught. You know, the guy was working in a video store. I'm sure in so I haven't looked into like his life story, but I'm sure in some way, shape, or form he's had like training. But like
Mm.
he was an incredible writer. He was passionate about movies. He watched everything that was coming. I was the same. I spent my entire youth like watching everything. I can't even remember the stuff I used to watch on VHS because I used to go to boot sales with my dad, and we'd pick up the most random horrors they're still not even on TV. Like the stuff I've got VHS, they still haven't made to TV.
Do you
So
still
it's like
have
I don't even want.
VHSs?
I've got VHSs up in like
Wow.
everywhere. Like I love VHSs. Actually, I can't wait for more systems to like come out where we can start putting
I feel like they
VHSs
should
back
make a
into.
comeback because vinyl's cool again. So I feel like,
That's it. That's
why
it.
aren't
Like,
they doing VHS?
why is a VCR player not coming back?
Yeah.
And why can't we get like a plasma TV with a VCR thing
Yeah.
on the side or whatever else? Or at least an attachment to go into it.
Mm.
So I'm with you on that big time. And I loved going to car boot sales and getting the most random movies ever, whether they were like bootleg or real or whatever else like that.
Watching all sorts. So if
Yeah.
money was no object, so budget no object,
Mm.
who would you like to cast in your films?
Okay, so this is quite upsetting because the actor that I always wanted to work with was Michael Madsen, and he just
Oh,
died. And some everyone that knows me knows that Michael Madsen. Michael Keaton is like my favorite actor of all time,
right.
but Michael Madsen is probably like the actor where he would suit what I would do more than
Hmm.
anything as my favorite actor. Whereas Michael Keaton, I would probably have to bring him into some kind of like drama or thriller or whatever else. Whereas Michael Madsen was like I always loved Michael Madsen. I always thought he was like the most incredible actor. And obviously as the years went on, his value went down and there was always stories that you heard about him and whatever else, like be careful as a producer and whatnot. And but so Bradley, who's my director, he'd done a film with him last year and he said he's the sweetest guy, he's so lovely. And I was really excited because there was a moment in a film that we just done this year
Mm.
where he was in the running to be one of the actors in it.
Right.
And the reason why he didn't get it, and I'm not going to get into the technicalities of it, it was to do with he couldn't make it to the country that we were in or
Right.
something like that. And that would have like been the icing on the cake. And I remember when he died, I sent it to like my business partner, and he straight away was just like, "Oh no, Charlie, I'm really sorry." And it's like
Oh.
he obviously to say that to someone that I didn't even know the guy,
Yeah,
and it was
but
like, yeah,
still,
yeah, like he was on my list of he was
especially
someone
if
that
you'd
I
been in talks. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
and it's
sad.
and it's like I feel like actually this isn't even like sort of talking out of turn. It's like I feel like if we pushed it, we probably could have got him into something
Mm.
else. But you're always listening to sales, you're always listening to what they want, and that's the reason why there's been two or three times when we haven't gone that way, where they've said, "Oh, don't worry, go with this person or go with that person."
Yeah.
Whereas if it was just completely our thing, I think we probably would have had him in something because the movie that our friend was in with him, we could have afforded that for some of the movies that we've done. So that's like a big regret that he passed away. Um, there is a guy called Sid Haig. I wanted to
Hmm.
work with Sid Haig hugely,
Yeah, House of a
and he
Thousand
he he.
Corpses.
That's it. He died like 6 years ago or 5 years ago, and it's
Yeah.
like a lot of the people that I really really wanted to work with have unfortunately like passed.
Maybe I
Um,
shouldn't have asked that question then, because you're killing them off.
No, no, exactly. Well, there's another one, Danny Trejo. Like, I would love to work with Danny Trejo.
Right.
And I'm never going to say like some like super huge A-lister because it's weird. Like, they don't mean the same thing. I've been
Right.
in like rooms with Zac Efron and Robert Downey Jr. and all that. It's like, it's great to see them, but
Yeah.
it's only great. Whereas if I saw like Sid Haig or if I saw Michael Madsen or something else, I'd probably like be like a fan rather than anything else. I'm trying to think. There was definitely someone we've met once. I met someone from Friends, he played Joey's well, twin, but he's not. He doesn't look anything like Joey. I know this is like a random thing to say, but we met him in AFM like 2 years ago, and he was talking. He was going on about everything, and now he's like a martial artist. He's a badass. He's
Right.
legit. He's in all these action movies, and he was chatting. And I looked at him and I went, "You were Joey's. You were like Joey Tribbiani's like twin." He went, "Yeah, that was me." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And then we chatted for like 30, 40 minutes. I was like, "This is incredible." I was like, "This is the most insane thing ever." So it was in one episode, and I was just
Right.
like, "Oh my god, I remember you," because it was like, "Damn it, Carl," and it was because they basically looked nothing like. And but when he sort of said that, I was like, "Oh my god, I was so excited," and that was exactly the same day where we met Zach Efron, and I was like, "Well, I did have that
You're more
reaction to
excited
that,"
about Joey
but
Tribbiani's
I was
random twin.
Joey Trelawney's person
It
because he
depends.
was
That's the thing. It depends
more
what you watch,
interesting to
doesn't
me.
it? Like I wasn't a massive Friends fan, but I imagine like I did something years ago. It was an extra. It was before I'd gone to drama school or anything, and it was on some TV show, and it had Anthony Head, and I was a massive Buffy fan, so I
Oh
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I had to like pass him a drink, and I was just like, this is the best day at work ever.
That's it. You can't. Again, it's subjective to
Yeah,
whatever. I think it's whatever your fandom is or whatever else like that. So I'm completely with you.
yeah. The final question, because we're running out of time. What's next for you? What's next on your slate? What can you tell me? What are you
it's
allowed to talk
so
about?
it's Deadly Games. So we just signed Cam Day, who was in Twilight. He's done a multitude of films. He done Violent Night that just come out with David Harbour a couple of years ago,
Hmm.
which is the Christmas action comedy
Yeah, seen
horror,
it.
which is obviously I'm trying to get into, but family wise. And Cam's brilliant. He's a lovely guy. And so we just signed him and his partner to that with Eddie Hall, who's the world's strongest man. Now he's like a MMA artist. We got Brad Watson, who you know.
Yes, I'm
He's
trying to get him
directing
on.
it.
We need to sort a date for him to come on the show.
You need to, yeah, yeah, definitely. And then Megan's going to be part of it as
Yeah.
well. And we got up to York, so we've been. I don't know how much closer that is to your way,
I'd
but
say
like
I'm in only an hour
we're
and
in
a
your
half
neck of
from
the woods.
York. She did say to me
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
going to be up here and if we could maybe like catch up at some point, but then I think I'm away for part of this month, so it
yeah,
depends what
yeah.
our
Well,
schedule
yeah,
is.
that's it. I think we're planning for like September. So
All
if you're
right.
around in September, if we're that close, you need to come down.
Yeah. No, I'm going to York next week actually. This
Oh, very
week.
nice.
I'm going
Yeah,
on Thursday. I'm off to York on Thursday.
yeah. You're like
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Now I realize it's Monday now, and in my head it's still Sunday. So yeah, it's actually Monday. Yeah, not fast. Hopefully I will be able to pop down and say hello.
Yeah, come and do it. I worked at this studio when I was an actor, and
Mm,
I done 2 or 3 films there. I actually done more like 5 or 6 movies for this studio, but actually there I've done like 2 movies at
right.
their physical studio. So it's kind of like full circle now. I've gone from an
Hmm.
actor who didn't know anything, was just happy to get a job, to now going to this studio and running a film and producing a film and
That's
go
really cool.
doing it properly. So yeah, I feel like this is a full circle moment.